Welcome to Jar of Truth, a startup podcast by four friends who accidentally became co-founders. We've been building Biospectra for 6 months now, and in this episode, we're opening up about what it's really like to go from banter to business plans. Each of us draws a topic from the jar, the fun, the frustrating, and the stuff we usually don't say out loud. It's raw, unfiltered, and maybe even useful. Let's dive in.
But let's get started. We've set up nicely here. So nice to meet you, people we know outside. That's nice. And hi to the viewers out there.
Hello.
We have this podcast. Oh, nice. We have this podcast prepared for you, where we're gonna talk about a topic that we find interesting. But maybe before we dive into that, maybe we can just tell the audience, in case they don't know who we are. Who are you? Who is you?
Yeah, you're sitting next to Kim. I'm a part of the team here as well. I'm very glad to be here. Thank you.
My name's Alex. I'm also working on the Biospectra stuff, a bit more on the technical side.
And I'm Christian, and I'm working a bit on the design part, mainly.
Yeah, yes. My name is also Christian, so that's a bit confusing that we're true Christians, but that's just the way it is. So obviously we've been given this task to make this podcast for our course, and it's been up to us as a team to figure out what we want to talk about, and what we think is interesting for us to maybe dive a little bit deeper into, and obviously preparing for this podcast and also the other work we've talked about. I think we pretty quickly agreed that it would be interesting to talk about how we unite entrepreneurship with friendship. Because obviously we started out connecting on a personal level, and then we found out that we were interested in the same project, and that is ultimately like brought us together.
Yeah, and another topic that's also important is that it's off script. So we have some subject we're talking about. We would just want to talk freely of the thing, so it make it more authentic.
Yeah. So we want to give both us as a group the chance to be as authentic as possible, and also make it more interesting for people listening to the podcast. So I have prepared some different stuff, some different things in these different cans. Based on basically what we have talked about preparing for this podcast.
And for us, it's all a mystery. We don't know.
Oh, you don't know what it is? Is it gonna be?
We know the themes. We don't know the.
Yes. So we have some different themes in these different cans, so I can just read them out loud for the viewers at home. So the first one we have is banter. Is it a blessing or is it a curse? So basically, how is it to have fun in a group? Can we control it, or is it part of control sometimes? The second theme we have is good and honest feedback, and by that we mean how do we how are we honest with each other with the work we do, and still maintain a friendship and not take it personal. It's also something we talk a lot about. The third theme is friendship as motivation. So how can we use our personal likeness of each other? I don't know if that's even a word, but how can we use that to motivate ourselves to work harder together? And then the last one is cross-disciplinary teamwork. So basically, how we utilize our different skills in our venture, and also how we work with new people, how we bring them on board, and what things we need to be aware of. So very cool. These things you were aware of, whatever is in the cups, you have no idea about.
Yeah, that's true. That's good. Nice setup. I like it.
Yeah, I like.
Let's go.
I like to kick it. So we have decided that we have approximately 5 minutes for each of these topics, and discussing the questions. So I will have a timer on my phone. I will not look at it, but out of nowhere it will just interrupt us, and we'll see ring a ding dong. It will ring a ding dong, and then we'll see if it interrupts us in the middle of the conversation. Sounds good. Let's see. Yeah. Okay. But I think Alex, you should be the first one to draw a question, and yeah, remember to read it out loud also for the audience out there.
All right. So this is the first.
This is the first one, and this is for the
This is the banter.
yeah, this is the banter theme.
All right. Actually, quite a good question. When has banter helped to diffuse a tense moment in our team?
Yeah. And now when I start the timer, you can start saying whatever comes to mind for you. if you have anything, or any one of you.
I think talking about banter is and the way that I really love using it is that if you have an issue and you get into an argument in a team like this, we sort of we fix the argument quite good, and there's also a really good gift that we have. But I think moving past that one argument is where the banter really comes in and helping us out. And I think it's something that I want to implement in it. It's like, okay, we know that we can take a bit of the piss on each other. We also sort of know where the line is. But talking about a subject that was a bit sensitive for all of us, so because we had an argument, I didn't joke about it. At that time we were like this, or you were acting like this. And then it's like more like a reference point that we all agree that it was a difficult area. But now we're actually using humor and banter to move on from this thing. Yeah, I think it's a nice way of taking the seriousness away from it. And of course, if someone else needs to bring up the topic again, if we need to talk about it, we can always do that. But it takes it away from being a negative thing, but coming onto like a funny thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually when people say something to you and you feel attacked, it helps a lot when they make you laugh first and then say the thing that is actually maybe bothering them a bit more. So then it just diffuses the whole situation and there's no ego involved anymore.
Nice. I think for the sake of time, we should have a new question. Yes, sir.
Thanks. But good first question here.
Question, and it seems like we're pretty much agree that it's a good way to diffuse a tense situation, right? So yeah, it's nice.
The next question is: do you think that we are too chill sometimes in the startup?
I think that's a good question for you, especially actually.
Yeah. How come?
Because I feel like you have on at least one occasion said that you sometimes feel like it's different, or not different, but difficult to like differ between when are we just goofing around and then telling some jokes, and when and how do we make the switch into actually working. So I think that's maybe
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've been thinking a lot about it because we sometimes goof around and we have a special banter, and also now in January, in the start of February, we got 2 new members, and we have a special jargon in the group, and I think that must have taken some time to get used to. But I also think that when we're working together, sometimes it could be me and Alex, it could be you two, or that we're not aligning on the banter, that maybe Kim wants to really do deep work and we all three are just goofing around being apes. So I think that that's the way that it can also ruin our productivity.
Yeah.
So, but then it's just, if it, for example, was Kim, then it's maybe just good to say, maybe we should calm down again, and be focused and not goof around it so much.
I think it happened occasionally, and sure, and when some people are on the high notes of like goofing around and have fun, and other people's not following that direction, it goes quite quick. Okay, yeah, maybe we should actually focus. And I think it's just a learning that we just need to be better at saying, hey, let's go 5 minutes and let's work done.
Yeah.
To get because we need to get the work done, but also need to have fun at the same time.
Yeah, so maybe we need to think about way we can maybe structure the way we work a bit more.
There's actually a study done and a technique called the Pomodoro method, where we can use a framework that's been designed in the 80s to increase productivity. But it's basically that you work for 25 minutes on a hard timer, and then for 5 minutes you take a break. So, and then you do this for 4 times, and then you take a longer break, and it means that you have had like almost 2 hours every 3 hours of very dedicated hard work. And I think we can also like pick a topic, work on it, and then when the timer is ticking, we know there's also like, this is work time, no banter, and then the timer clicks, and then we can have some fun about it, talk about it, just blow some steam off, play some table tennis, and then timer goes again, and you go straight into the work again.
Yeah. Good. Yeah, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, it's probably gonna end up being just me and Kim back table tennis. But I mean that's a whole nother story.
Yeah, but he's in practice now.
Yeah, I almost beat you once out of 9 last time, so but
Let's not get carried away.
Like, it is a good example with the table tennis because it's like quick and you can get your pulse up, and then you can go back to work. And I think that works with the Pomodoro because and there's the alarm. This is what I wake up to every day. So
That's amazing.
let's put it on the mic. But yeah, pretty good. I mean, even though we're short on time, I think we had some good reflection about how we can use the banter we have and the jargon, as you also mentioned, as a positive thing or of coping with difficult situations, but also maybe that we need to be better at structuring the way we work. So maybe using some different frameworks to planning the way we work and what do we joke around, right?
And maybe also just saying, guys, now we could be better at that, I think.
And also respecting when
Yeah,
someone actually say it.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
All right, let's not get too carried away. Let's move on to the next theme here, and the next theme here is good and honest feedback. So that's gonna be super interesting. I'm gonna start the timer now and hand this to you, Ken.
My name is Kip.
No, Kim. Sorry. Yes.
Okay. So the first question is, how could we make feedback feel safer in the team?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe you should take the lead on that one.
Yeah, I think we have a pretty good. I mean, I think everyone has been in a group where they don't feel like it's a safe space for actually maybe being vulnerable. Say, I think this is difficult, or for you to stare to someone else. I think we should improve on this, right? I know I have at least, and I think we from the get go of this project we're at a pretty good place where we. Sorry for spitting on you. I feel like from the get go of this project, we were at a pretty good spot where we could be pretty open with each other and say, I think we need to focus on this. And I know you did really great work, but maybe we should focus even more on this. So I think we are at a pretty good standpoint. But maybe also coming back to the banter part before, maybe we have a tendency to maybe make some jokes out of the stuff each other make. So if I, for example, make a mistake in the work that I have done, then maybe we sometimes have a tendency to make a joke out of it, and maybe that can be a way of making it a less safe space to be vulnerable. Yeah. I wouldn't say that it's a problem, but I mean it can be in future.
Don't you think it makes it easier to be vulnerable, especially when you're making a joke about it? Because then it's not so serious that you're like stressing about it and what are the others going to say, and then just say it, and then you just like have a laugh about it, and then you fix it together with the teams.
For sure. I think you're definitely right about it, but there is also a balance between making a joke in a loving way and also making a joke in like a demeaning way. So you're not like acting like you know better, but you're making the joke just to diffuse the tension, as we talked about before. I agree. Yeah, definitely.
Should we? I think we're pretty good at the feedback part and being honest, but I also feel that it can differ from each person you have in a group. But it comes down to, yes, I know stuff that everything I do it can be perfect.
Yeah.
And going into with that attitude, then it's okay that I can, if it gets some feedback in the same way I'm giving feedback to someone else, and people are good with that. Sure. But let's take a next question to get the thing. I think it's the yeah.
When did feedback from one of us actually help you grow?
Okay. I actually feel like I can say a lot about this because I've been the primary guy who pitches all of stuff. Yeah. And obviously we've as a team worked on what you should say, how we should present that like the basic storyline. But where I have received a lot of feedback, primarily from you, can say is about the whole pitching thing, how I deliver the pitch, how I handle on stage. And I think you have been really good at saying, "Oh, I think you're doing a really good job, Christian. You're doing these and these and these things right."
Because you're soft.
But you've been really good at saying, "I know you're doing these things really great, but if you just change this slightly, you can be even better."
Yeah.
And I think that has been really, really helpful. And also, when I've practiced in front of you as a team, you were pretty good at saying, really good. Maybe if you can just change this or say it in a different way, then it's that has been super helpful. And also, I mean, when I pitch not only in front of the audience but also in front of you, I'm way more relaxed about it somehow. So that's really nice.
There was once I read it, and I think it comes to expression when I give feedback is I give different feedback. It was like say directly, but challenge the directness, but take care of the person you're talking to. So you're being very very honest
Yeah.
when you're saying it, saying, hey, I think you're doing great. If you want to improve, and then I have an advice for you here. It's just we take it or leave it. But being direct. But I'm also thinking about when I give feedback to people I want to talk, be criticism or feedback or give the compliments. It's also taking care of the person that I'm talking to. It's very important.
The timer is going off, but
Time's-
please already.
Yeah.
Let's continue for.
And I think it's super important also, and I think I do it differently when I give feedback to you, or I give feedback to Alex or Christian, or you, Christian, Fabius here. That's I also think about who I'm talking to when I'm giving the feedback, but I'm always being honest, and I think that also helps true friendship and being in an entrepreneur startup, whatever we're gonna call it. That you always need to be honest, because the other things you can't use it because you don't need to wrap yourself up in a bubble plastic.
Yeah.
And some people don't enjoy it. Some people love it, but I 100% feel the thing that also when I'm giving you feedback, you're saying, "Great, thank you very much," and you're just like, "Okay, yeah, I need to work on that." Pretty fair.
Yeah, there's also a lot about receiving feedback. Yes. I know people they take it very personal.
And agrees. Yeah.
And that's also, as you mentioned, the whole friendship thing in it, and also coming back to the banter thing that we can speak freely with each other, and we know that when someone says something that you should change or do differently, it comes from a good place. It's not personally against you. I think that is a really strong skill, as you also mentioned. So that's
You can also say like "fuck you," laugh about it, and then still take the feedback. And take the tension out of it.
sure.
All right. Next topic, so we don't run out of the time.
Let's not get too carried away here. So the next one is friendship as motivation. Interesting topic. I don't know whose turn it is. Maybe it's your turn. You look like you wanted to take it.
No, yeah, okay, maybe not. I can take it away, and you can say, hey.
All right. I'll take one.
Right, and I'll start the.
What motivates you most about being part of this team?
Okay.
Oh, in the beginning, it was, for me at least, that we really had a technology where we're actually like doing something. It's very deep tech. But then I also found a lot of motivation actually in the fact that we were all in the deep of it. So none of us were actually that knowledgeable about it. And I think that really brought us together on a lot of the topics. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but
Mostly the money. Okay.
follow the money.
I think I have the opposite opinion. I think that the fact that we, especially me, did not have the knowledge about it, it made it less motivating for me. But then us being friends was a big motivator, because I could see, okay, if I went into another startup with people I wouldn't know, maybe I'll know more about the topic, but then I wouldn't be in a good group. And of course, it's probably also good to be in a place where you know a lot of stuff. It is, I know, but it's also good place to grow if you don't know the what we're working on. Yeah, there's good pushes you out to come through. So yeah, let me. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for me, it's a combination of both, right? Obviously, you have to connect on a personal level. You need to have fun and all the things that we've already talked about. And also, as you mentioned, Alex, you have to work on something that excites you, and especially through this process that we've been through so far, when we talk to people and we can feel like that we really have something going for us that is really motivating, and especially working together with people you actually enjoy being together with, then that excitement just is even stronger, because it just strengthens the happiness and the joy even more, I would say, when we're also good friends and share the positives. And even though we might not have experienced that many downfalls yet, I assume and think that when we're gonna hit some walls, I need to really work our way around them. That we also have the benefit that we are also good friends. So that is also something that can help us in when those times arise.
Yeah, hopefully. Let's take the next one. Oh no, we don't know. No, we don't know. We don't. Oh, it's wrong one. I was like, Kim, come on, Mr. Kim time, Kim to the K.
Is friendship ever a distraction from from doing the hard parts? So again, is friendship ever a distraction from doing the hard parts? And this is quite fluffy question, because what is the hard parts? Is that being brutally honest? Is that firing your friends? I think it could, in most cases, be a distraction, and I think there'll also be a distraction for us. We all know that we're gonna have a term sheet that we need to hand in the end of X-Tech year, the project we're doing. And I think that's gonna be some of the first talks that we have with each other, where it's gonna be quite difficult in some sort of way. Who wants to continue? Who doesn't want to continue? Does it make sense? Blah blah. Something that always brings up annoying atmosphere to be in. But I don't know if it distracts us from being friends.
No, Entrepreneurial is distracting us. I feel like sometimes when we have to do a task that we don't really want to do, or have a deadline, or we don't really want to, work on. I feel like sometimes it's just much easier for us to just sit down and just tell some jokes and talk about what what we did through the weekend, or what we're gonna do the weekend. Yeah. Especially also because we easily can talk about stuff outside school. And sometimes it's just
there's no problem.
exactly. So sometimes we just indirectly agree not to work and just have a break that it turns out being too long.
Yeah, we're pretty good at that.
Yeah.
I mean, yesterday with the meeting we had, we set the 2-minute time limits, and I think no one went over 3 minutes. So I think we also
No one, you
you're 3.5, right? 3.5. But I think we can also set the limit when it's needed.
yeah, 100%.
I think overall for this theme is that I've read something about the self-determination theory, is that when it's like a balance of three aspects. So you both have the relatedness, is what pretty much what we're talking about now. Relatedness to each other. We are friends, so we can relate to each other, and that turn is going on. That continue. That's is driving us. That motivates us, and then you connect that with the competences. So if I feel that I know, that's kind of back to what you said, like that I know what I'm working on, then I also feel more motivated. So if I know people and I know what I'm doing, then it's super good. And then on top of that is the autonomy. So that's feeling in control of what I do. And I think that's back to the first one. The second one is that if we give good feedback, then you feel like, okay, I'm still in control. I maybe made a mistake, but I'm still in control. Yeah. So having the control, having someone that you know in the team and are friends with, and then being good at something, then it's a good triad of motivation and drive.
Yeah, so maybe we should work on, especially in those situations where we don't really want to work on a task, we should maybe focus more up on being in control than the specific situation. So yes, maybe knowing exactly what to do in order for us to actually work on it instead of just goofing it out. Yeah, right? So using the framework you told.
Yeah, control of the situation and control of what you're doing and control of your friendships. I think that's keystone. Is that like this?
Sounds interesting what you read there, I must say. Okay, let's move on for the last one here, which is cross-disciplinary teamwork. And I think I know you ended up talking, but it's your turn to draw it. I'll draw.
Gonna start the timer now.
All right, final one. Better be good.
How do we as a team make others feel like they're part of the group? I think that's really relevant now that we got new members.
Yeah.
And also when we started on.
Also because obviously we're gonna have new members in the future as well. Which are probably gonna be in a different place than a DTU student. So
Yeah, might yeah.
what was the question? I forgot. Sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
How do we make others feel like
yeah.
they're part of the
Yeah,
team?
yeah. What do we do? I think this is also something that we've talked about throughout X-Tech, especially after we got 2 new team members. Is that I think we've been pretty good at sharing the way we talk, our jargon, and the way we joke with the 2 other team members, as a way of like incorporating them in our team.
Yeah, I think we did a pretty good job in the beginning of getting new members, that we tried to get them on like what we've been doing, and how is that we have this special jargon, and how we talk to each other. But I also personally tried to get us to collect all the stuff that we have been doing and putting it like in a collected place, so that the new members could look at it. And of course it's a hassle to do, but I think it maybe worked for them to get quicker into what we've been doing and getting into the loop. Yeah.
But it's I think we can all honestly say to each other that yes, we tried to do a good job, but there's also the parts where we could have done better.
Sure.
Yeah. But it was also that we were 4 people knowing each other, been working on it for a half a year roughly, maybe, a bit less, on a project together. Had those barriers breaking down, and then suddenly there's 2 new members that's coming in. We learn from it. There's places we can do better, but we also did good. I think sitting in there to take them in and being part of the team and eating lunch with them and hanging around with them and stuff like that. So I think we did good. Can do better.
But also, it takes 2 to tango, right? So next question, Alex. See if we get one that.
Right. Have you ever felt like someone didn't get our team culture?
Yeah, I think it's a hit or miss sometimes, and obviously it's fair enough that people have different sense of humor, right, and different ways of communicating, and I also think that's something we can all agree on, that there's somewhere through this process of X-Trek and with our new team members, something has went wrong where they seem a bit disconnected in the way that we work and in the deliverables that we have to hand in, where we maybe have a tendency to take a higher level of responsibility than we maybe should.
A little bit of a trust issue.
Yeah, and I don't know where that necessarily stems from, why that happens, but I think that, as we also mentioned before, that it takes 2 to get the teamwork to work.
Yeah, I especially feel like if they're not asking what they can help with or what they can do to lift up the assignment or stuff, like a bit sitting down, then I feel like it's hard for me to hand over responsibility to them, because then I don't have tendency to feel like, are we getting closer to the target here that you need to do? And so I think that's sort of comes in, like, unless you, as a person, you come and say, hey, I'll just take that one. I'll also, hey, I can help this as well. Then like, okay, you got it under control. If you're sitting and not doing that much, then I think it's harder to allocate tasks on them and expect this to be done, because you don't really have a feeling of responsibility from that person, for sure, because it comes all in hand. Yeah.
I think it's hard now to know, because we haven't had so many, of course, in the team, and we'll see that in the future probably. But someone who, like, if someone doesn't get our culture, I think it's also like some of the other teams that we have been working around. I think sometimes we seem from the outside goofy a lot, and we're not getting a lot of stuff done. And then I think when we're presenting or handing something in, I think they're surprised that, okay, they actually did some good stuff really well. So that's kind of what I didn't understand, but we kind of outperformed the goofiness.
Yeah, for sure.
Sure.
But coming back to what you said before, I think maybe a reason why we feel like they haven't taken enough ownership, or at least the amount of ownership that we would like, is also, oh shit, time is going up. But that is maybe also because there's like not a mismatch, but there's a misalignment in the kind of personalities, chief personalities that we have in the group, that everyone is maybe not aware of
who they are as a character, how they work the best, how they communicate the best.
100. Well,
So maybe it's
but I think that's the good thing about it is that we learn from this.
for sure.
Like and learning and being in a group of 4 people and getting 2 people in, maybe they're motivated for the task, the group, the project.
Yeah.
Maybe it's something they're just saying because they also want to seem like they're motivated. But maybe afterwards they're like, no, I'm actually unmotivated for it at all. And it's fair, but it's just us 4 as a team needs to navigate in all those different things. And then 2 people comes in and the responsibility could flag, but some things they also did. We all did like super good at taking responsibility. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But maybe a thing that we need to be more aware of is like mapping out what personalities we have. Maybe I mean I think we all have experience with the built-in team roles, right? So taking a personality test, figuring out what type of personality you have, how you work in a professional setting, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and also for everyone to have like awareness on how to cope with the person, both in the positives but also in the negatives. So if I feel like one of our other teammate members is acting in a certain negative way, maybe I can figure out why the person is acting that way and try to figure out, okay, how do I cope with that person being negative, and how do we turn it around to something positive? So I think if we're more aware of the different personalities and team roles, then we have a higher level or higher probability of succeeding in the way we integrate in people, right?
Yeah, and understanding like why does this person behave like this? Maybe with the building that's true.
All right, but the timer went off a couple of minutes ago, so
You weren't that good at stopping the time.
yeah, I'm sorry.
But we also just such good conversation.
Exactly. Good conversation. And we also hope it was enjoyable for the people out there. Maybe just as a way of rounding it off and closing the circle.
Should I do a pitch now?
Not now. But maybe also because we've talked a lot and there was a lot of different themes, topics, and questions. So maybe if everyone just says really quickly what the key takeaway is from not only this conversation but also our project work in general. What is some of your key takeaways?
This tough one. Do you have one yourself you talk about?
I have one myself. I think also working with experience or from past experience from my bachelor's and also working with Liu, I think obviously it's a strength being different, but cracking the code as to how you align as a team, even though you have different competencies, different backgrounds, different skills, is really the best or the key to leveraging your different skills, right? So also coming back to what I mentioned before, if you know what different personalities you have, what strengths you have, what weaknesses you have, and if you can utilize that the best way, then you have the key to success. I think that is what I think is most interesting.
Yeah.
For me, the biggest takeaway actually is how much you can grow as a person within a group where everybody's brutally honest. Because I think it's quite rare that people are this honest with each other. I'll stay close to the microphone. But and especially when people tell you the truth, like brutally to your face, then you also know there's no twisting around your back, and then you can actually grow quite a lot as a person. Yeah, sure.
I also doing the fact that I'm old. I also have old, also, had the experience of working in a lot of other groups and full time and being in different setups, and I just think that it's sort of like take me back to when I was working as a sales guy, and then we had a group dynamic of people like 8 boys, all the same age, good banter, taking the craft, good jokes, but really also being able to push out some really, really good work. And it's just sort of like reminds me of being in that environment of, hey, it is possible to find places where you have the banter, you have the fun, but you're still also motivated and you can still do good and you could get some results done. And I think that's what also showed us I heard a statistic that people and friends that's being brutally honest or take the piss out of each other on banter have like 400% more higher chance of actually staying together as friends, because you just know that it's really the ego doesn't come in intact. Like, you can say things to me, but I can also say things to you, and our ego is put aside. And then there's other stuff that the ego can be touched on. But I think if you're able to do those things, it's just really nice to enjoy that, to work with you guys.
Thank you. We enjoy you. And raising the sausage and
You already said a lot of stuff, but I think it's like overall with all the stuff you said, it's the fine line between all of it, like the fine line between the banter and the seriousness, and the fine line between being harsh and giving good feedback. And yeah, so what I'm taking from this is that we just need to be better at like I, for example, could do more feedback to others, and I would do more feedback. Yeah, so but like navigating between the fine line. Good afflictions. Great. Well, even though we could continue for a long time, I'm pretty sure let's wrap it up. Thank you, boys, and thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening out there. Peace out.
We hope you enjoyed. It's over here. We hope you enjoyed, and let's hit it with the
KK.